And welcome to another exciting episode of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles. I'm your host, Tim D-O-double-G. And joining us tonight are our four usual co-hosts, myself included. First up, we have the man behind the sound effects, at Agent_70 on Twitter.
What is up, everybody?
Next up, we have at Roddy Cat on Twitter. Is he frozen? Kind of looks like he is.
Yeah, I thought he was just like reading something, but yeah, it sure looks like he's frozen.
Roddy Cat, what are they feeding you?
And that fourth voice, or third voice, is at PCN_Dirt on Twitter.
I'm telling you that unnatural applause. You gotta find the clip of the person who's just like, whatever. You know, that's the one I need.
Whoever it is put the Hangouts toolbox out of business, probably.
Yeah, right?
They ain't paid the fee. So as we wait for Roddy Cat to rejoin us, I want to remind everyone that you can go to our website, thekliqnation.com, where you can find previous episodes of the Comic Book Chronicles and comic book news. On the homepage are links to our social media accounts. We're on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Google+. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, Google Play, and TuneIn Radio. And we are part of the CSPN Media Network. Go to cspn.us. Do it today. Remember, we record live every Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. And if you want to watch live, just go to thekliqnation.com/live. And if you're talking comics on social media, make sure to use the hashtags Comic Book Chronicles and CBChron to join in the conversation. So the first book we will review this week is from Marvel Comics, and it is the sort of precursor to their big, I guess it's a big event, sort of mini event of the spring, Infinity Countdown Prime #1.
Sure.
And I had mentioned in my notes that for this to be a Prime issue, a lot happens.
There's a lot of setup in this. You notice that, right?
Yeah, it's definitely set up, but we do find out the status of all 6 of the Infinity Stones.
True that. And you know what's funny is that for anyone who had been reading Guardians of the Galaxy, this really did continue the story that was that ended or didn't end it within the last page of that book, but or the last the last issue in that particular volume of Guardians, but it definitely picked up right where that left off.
Yes. So this, and more than likely, they canceled Guardians just to roll their story into this event. So you catch up, or you get at least a brief recap of what's going on with the Power Stone, which that story took place in Guardians.
Right.
But then also we caught up with the resurrected Wolverine from Marvel Legacy #1.
Sure, and we finally find out after all of those cameo appearances that he'd been making in the last month or two's worth of Marvel books, we finally find out which gem it is he's wielding. Although it makes sense if you think about him making all of these guest appearances and all these all these cameos in all these issues.
Right. And I don't think they made it. I don't think they kept it a secret that he had the Space Stone. You saw him use it finally.
Ah, I see. Maybe I just wasn't as on top of it as you are, or a lot of people are. But what's funny is that right after we see a pretty intense sequence between Wolverine and the first person who tries to take the stone away from him. The next person who's holding a stone is a pretty big surprise too.
Yes, from the Daredevil side of the Marvel Universe, right?
Definitely, yeah. The Daredevil side, yeah. That's pretty much, he's definitely played a small background role in a lot of the street level heroes, Spider-Man included. But definitely, it's fair to say he's from the Daredevil side of the Marvel U.
Yeah. We see see what's up with Captain Marvel and her adventures in the alternate realities and then discovering the Reality Stone.
Right. A little DC homage on the last page, the last part of that the last like quarter panel of that page.
I need to look at that again because I missed that.
It's right on the right. It's right on the edge of the page. So as you're going from Carol to Monica Rambeau to whatchamacallit, Marvel, there's a little bit of a DC homage in that last like kind of quarter panel.
Yeah, that's what I heard, and somehow I missed that.
So when you flip back to it, you'll see it.
I'm about to look at it now.
Now that I kind of talked it up a lot more than it really is.
Yeah, but now I want to catch the homage. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. It's like right before you turn the page, it's like, oh wait, that's not right.
Interesting.
All right. And as we said earlier, right after that, we kind of catch up with the Guardian story. There's a couple of characters that reemerge in this. There's actually more than a few characters that kind of reemerge to the forefront in this issue. We won't spoil everyone, but that's definitely a big part of how this Prime book wraps up.
There was something I was going to mention, and now I don't remember what it was. How the Time Stone is back and where it's back and what it brought with it. That was kind of interesting.
Oh yeah,
I didn't realize this thing had been destroyed at one part at one time back in the past, which explains why it's now here in the present. It was brought from the past to the present. And I'm being vague on purpose.
Yeah, you gotta because that one took me by surprise.
And then
who's holding it?
Yeah.
And who's holding it? So as I mentioned before, we won't cover every stone and who's got which stone, because that would be spoiling a lot of it. There's also a nice little backstory of the Infinity Gem / stones.
Is he RoboCop or is that me?
Say again.
What?
Uh-oh.
Say again. Is your internet going wonky?
Tim, can you hear me?
I hear everyone, but can everyone hear everyone else?
Agent 70 to me sounded like he was RoboCop underwater there.
No kidding.
Can you hear Agent 70? Can you hear Doug?
I can.
And Doug can hear Agent 70?
Now you sound fine, but as you were talking there, like that whole time you were talking, it was just like nonsense.
No, that was me making fun. But well, hopefully that was temporary. I was just saying that the end of the book has a nice little recap of a brief history of the Infinity Stones / gems.
Yeah, and the last pages give a nice sort of recap of what's been going on with them the last couple of years.
Absolutely.
Oh, and I forgot that another Guardian subplot was I guess, sort of resolved about who decapitated the contemplator.
Oh yeah.
I'm like going back through the issue now.
Yeah, well, this is written by Jerry Duggan, so you got to figure he's going to, like you said, kind of continue the Guardian story in here. I wanted to also mention the art. I know that a lot of people, and myself included, sometimes are turned off by Mike Deodato's art because it ends up being muddy. But I think that the color artist on this, Frank Martin, does a tremendous job of really creating depth and definition to what are often pretty muddy looking pages by Deodato. Lots of heavy, shading and spotting blacks that really, make most of the page, dark and muddy. Give Frank Martin a lot of credit for putting a lot of definition into this book with the colors.
Yeah, his art actually came out understandable.
Yeah, it was like kind of popping, like in some places, right? Like it kind of popped off the page, and that was cool. A lot of definition into this book. Oh, whoa! I can hear myself.
No, you can't. But pay no attention to that.
All right. So Doug, I guess you didn't read Infinity Countdown, right?
No, I did not read it.
Gotcha.
I'm passing this one. I'm going to see if I can survive without reading the big Marvel crossover for this section of history. Yeah.
All righty, what's next? President Bartlett, where are you?
Next is Doctor Strange Damnation #1.
Ooh.
Which I have not read yet. So
I have not read it.
I'm sorry. That is a Doctor Strange Tarnation.
I saw that. I almost bought that variant.
And I enjoyed this quite a bit. It's a very throwback style story where it opens and a city has been laid to ruins and millions have died and the Avengers weren't able to save them and they're having a memorial service and Doctor Strange appears and he goes, "We can do better than this," and bling, bling, bloom. And you see it was actually Vegas, and all of Vegas has returned. Vegas was the city that was destroyed. And in the midst of all of this, like, hey, it's great, all these people came back to life and everything is rebuilt and all the damage is gone, this new hotel comes up out of the ground and it's run by Mephisto. And it turns out that all the people in Vegas died, and all those souls, it's Vegas, all those souls went to hell, and now he's mad that the souls got stolen from him and brought back to Earth. And so Doctor Strange, he enters the hotel alone in order to face Mephisto and, take on what will invariably be a bunch of Vegas-themed challenges for him with the souls of the Avengers hanging in the balance. But like it was, like I said, it's a throwback type story. Like it felt very much like the 80s style crossover. So like out of left field and oddball and awesome. I only bought it really because of the Tarnation cover. I just thought that was hilarious and I wanted to buy that variant.
Yeah.
But when I read it, I really enjoyed this a lot. So much more than some of the other stuff that I read this week, just for what it was. And the cover, even though it shows that, Blade and Ghost Rider and Iron Fist and Moon Knight are going to be a part of this series, they're not in this issue. So if you're hoping to see that appearance, that's not yet. This is set up. We haven't gotten to the point where they're going to be there, but it does mention that they will be brought in the future. So they do foreshadow that. But yeah, it was just like, it's one of those things where it's Vegas. And it just, it's like, okay, yeah, all the people died. They all went to hell. That makes sense. It's Sin City. Like it just, like, it's such a goofy premise that it makes sense. It works. And so yeah, I really enjoyed this a lot more than I thought I would.
That's funny. So yeah, this is Donny Cates and Nick Spencer. It flows right out of Nick Spencer's whatchamacallit, Secret Empire storyline. And
Donny Cates is one that does a lot of humor. So
right.
A lot of his books have that humorous bent to it. So I think there was probably one doing the plotting and one doing the scripting. would be my guess. And but yeah, the dialogue is fun, the story is oddball, and even for someone like me, I don't read Doctor Strange.
Mhm.
And I don't read the Avengers regularly. I just kind of pick it up every now and again to see where everybody's at. And I had no problems following the story. Like you really don't have to know. And they mention some stuff, like they bring up some of the stuff that happened in like Civil War last year, and some of this other stuff, and Secret Empire, and they kind of briefly mention it. But if you haven't read those, it doesn't matter. You know that that's what they're talking about, but you don't have to know what those stories were in order to understand this story.
Sure. This looks like fun. I'm looking forward to reading this.
And the artwork is really fun too. It's this painted style. Of course, I already bagged and boarded mine. I got to open it up here.
I've got my copy open. Hold on, I'll get the art. Sidransky, I think it is.
Rod Reis?
No, Zyman Kudransky. Rod Rice is. Actually, wait. I'm looking at that's an ad actually. For the next, like the inside front cover.
No, I'm looking at the back. It's like second page from last.
Oh, all right, yeah. Rod Rice is the artist.
Yeah, he did a lot of the Secret Empire pages. A lot of the Steve, mysterious Steve Rogers, bearded Rogers,
right? When the forest, yeah.
Well, and he's got a very different type of style. I don't think it would work like if you're trying to do something like a Superman book or a Captain America book. It's not really fit for something like that. But for this, which is kind of a horror theme, but like I said, also just kind of oddball and weird in general, it's a nice, because the story is so different, the art is so different, it just works together.
Cool. I'm glad you liked it.
All right.
All righty.
Now,
what's next?
What is next? Do some DC. Yeah, let's jump to DC. I will do Super Sons number 13, which I'm sad to hear that the series is coming to an end in May. But at least writer Peter J. Tomasi has promised more adventures for Robin and Superboy are planned. We'll see what shape those take, whether or not some type of Young Justice relaunch will come out once all the Justice League No Justice 4-issue weekly series ends and the whole relaunching of the Justice League line of books. Especially with Young Justice, the cartoon season 3 starting up on the DC digital service later in the year, I could see them maybe wanting to get Young Justice a comic back out there.
Yeah,
but here, Talia al Ghul, Robin's mother, comes calling to recruit Damian for a job, and it allows the first time for Jonathan Kent to sort of see this other side of Damian that he didn't know about, which was the 10-year-old assassin killer side. So be interesting to see how that progresses as the story unfolds. And that's it for Super Sons 13.
Alrighty. I guess we can stay on DC and just cover my one DC book of the week. I see that PCN_Dirt read it also. It's Batman number 41.
I don't know if I read it as much as I just kind of blinked a couple times and flipped the pages and got the whole story.
Pretty much. I definitely agree with your assessment of this book in that the entire book could have been told, the story of this book could have been told within 5 pages in old school storytelling.
Well, and that's one thing, I get that it's cinematic.
Right.
And when you flip through it, he's writing movie scripts, and the movie scripts are being turned into comics. And so you have these visuals, you have these full page spreads, you have these 2-page spreads that don't have a whole lot of dialogue or whatever, but they're trying to showcase the artwork and make these big establishing shots and, whatever. But at the same time, it's like I sat down to read it and I wasn't even paying any attention. I was just like flip, 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 flip. Read words, flip, 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 words. There's a couple words, flip, 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 and I was done. And I was like, that's like what? Like, where's the rest of the story? Like this
I gotta
is.
agree with that. I've got to agree with you on that.
And you know, I guess if you want to, you know, partake in the partially legal in half the United States herbs that will allow you to sit and stare at the artwork and just get lost in it, then it's probably the perfect book.
Sailboat. I'm kidding.
It's not a sailboat; it's a schooner. All right. But yeah, it's just kind of one of those things where I don't feel like it's feeding me. You know, it's like I got done with it, and I had to go read some other stuff just to fill up those story reading parts of my brain because they just didn't really get anything out of this book.
I agree with you. I think that my reading of it was also well, I felt like my reading of it was heavily influenced by the fact that I was traveling and I was, moving, going from work to home, and I'm reading it. And I'm just like, all right, flip, like you said, flip, absorb a little bit of the artwork, kind of see where, the passage of time is supposed to be implied, flip. Hey, I'm at the end of the book. What just happened? I agree with that wholeheartedly. And I also wanted to note that I guess for the foreseeable future, until King decides that, this whole Catwoman Batman thing isn't going to work out, this is going to be kind of like a team up book for a little while.
Yeah. Although I'm just like, I don't want to cast any aspersions on someone's hero, but they're sharing a bed and they ain't married yet, but that's none of my business.
All righty.
Let's see. We've done 2 of mine, my 3. And we've done 2 of Doug's. I guess I'll jump in with Defenders number 10, the end, or at least Bendis's finale for the Defenders, and whether or not this continues in a new volume by a new creative team isn't really answered or even addressed. But Bendis loves himself some Hood.
Okay.
Robin, whatever, Parker Robbins or whoever dude's name is.
Gotcha.
So the series went from having Diamondback as the main villain, got rid of him an issue ago. I feel like just so he could like shoehorn in the Hood as the issue's final villain. Maybe that was always the plan from jump, and knowing Bendis, it probably was.
Right.
But in your case, he declares himself the new kingpin the new kingpin, I should say. He even goes to Fisk and sort of says hey, out of respect, you're the Don, but I'm the new kingpin now. I'm gonna do things differently. No respect to how you did it, but my way is gonna be a little different. Again, no respect, no disrespect, yada yada yada, and then disappears. And then he assembles all a bunch of these C and D list level street villains, I guess, and gives them a proposition of, instead of having one kingpin, they all become kingpins and split up the Eastern Seaboard, or however you say it. Eastern Sea?
Eastern Seaboard. If it's going up and down the coast,
yeah, going up and down the coast. But he would be the kingpin above all the kingpins, but they each can be a kingpin of a territory.
He would be the Don, and they would all be underbosses. I gotcha.
Right.
All be capos.
And then right before they get too far into their meeting, they're interrupted by the Defenders and a whole host of other heroes that come to assist. So you have other street level key characters like Misty Knight and Miles Morales Spider-Man, Peter Parker Spider-Man, Cable for some reason, Storm, White Tiger, probably Colleen Wing is probably there as well. And it kind of ends, and that's it. We assume that the villains got their butts kicked, but yeah, nice little ending. Oh, and they also earlier in the issue they teased like Heroes for Hire reopening because they set up shop in a new, I don't know if it's a new location or the same office, but you see the Heroes for Hire sign on the front. So I don't know if they're gonna like relaunch it as Heroes for Hire, the series, or it'll just be one of those things that just like left open ended. But that's the first of Bendis's many books, Marvel books, to close out his chapter on.
All right. Let's see here. Roddy Cat still is having some issues rejoining the call, so let us jump to. Let me just cover a couple of books real quickly, since we're down a co-host. Avengers 681. We are still on the slow grind to the end of the Avengers books. We learned a couple of small things. We learned that, well, the Avengers finally learn what the stakes are, what's going on. The stakes of the contest have changed slightly as we've moved through the story. Now we find out that the Earth is going to be tossed aside once this game is over, and the Avengers act accordingly. So, meanwhile, the return of the one Jade Giant or Green Goliath is slowly coming to the fore. It's just taking its sweet time. So that's pretty much what happens in Avengers 681. If anyone out there is reading X-Men Gold, in X-Men Gold number 22, Mesmero is back to playing games, and it's a very Byrne X-Men storyline. There's a classic Mesmero story during the Byrne era of X-Men, and this reminded me very much of it. Let's see here. Tim, I see you also read Amazing Spider-Man number 796.
Yes. Not too much really happens in this, except they kind of tease Peter and MJ getting back together.
But you know what's funny? I thought this was a pretty solid story in terms of, like, you know, kind of catching us up to, if anyone didn't read Venom, the whole Venom storyline, which I didn't, you know, it got us to, you know, to catch up with Flash Thompson. And then I thought it was moving the story along. I thought it was like pretty, you know, kind of tight story. Not like you said, nothing happens, but I thought like the art kind of detracted from what I thought was a solid story.
Yeah, the art wasn't the best, but I feel like Mike Hawthorne's a good artist, so not entirely sure what was up with this.
Yeah, like his face, like the character faces were all just kind of, you know, screwy, and it was just very, you know, disappointing. So I've got to look up Mike Hawthorne's other work and see, you know, if this is just like a one-off, or maybe it was just rushed.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's that. And Tales of Suspense number 102. Roddy Cat and I both read the first issue of this Tales of Suspense relaunch with the Winter Soldier, aka Bucky, and Hawkeye, basically on the hunt for someone who they think is the Black Widow reincarnated. And you know, there's a couple things that happened in the previous issue, but the big thing that we both liked about the previous issue and what carries over into this issue is that there's very much a buddy cop formula being played in between the Winter Soldier and Bucky and Hawkeye, I mean. And you know, it's a lot of fun, continues in this issue, and there's a very surprising cliffhanger page I will not spoil. But if you're reading this and you're just looking for something that's kind of fun, doesn't really tie into much of anything else other than what happened in Secret Empire, then this is a kind of a fun book to pick up and read.
Yes.
All right. And I've got Justice League 39, and the Justice League woes continue. So I'd kind of fallen behind on Justice League over the last few months, and especially with Brian Hitch and everything, like blah. But you know, he left. Christopher Priest came on, and I just had them all kind of set aside to get to. And over the last week, I've read them all and got caught up for the one that came out this week. And I don't like it.
Yikes.
For one thing, all the voices sound wrong, and it's very apparent that a different writer came in with a different vocabulary, speaking a different way, using a lot of different words. It seems like on a lot of these issues, he has a thesaurus sitting there. And he's just kind of flipping, like, what big word can I throw in every so often? And it just kind of, it's just weird. Like, it pulls you out of the story as you're reading along, and somebody says something that just doesn't sound right, and it doesn't feel right. And I don't know how to explain it other than that. But the overall, like, tone is just so. It's all about public opinion and snarky Twitter posts and trending hashtags, and it's just kind of one of those things where it's like I turned off notifications from Twitter on my phone for a reason. I actually uninstalled Facebook from my phone. I only check it through my web browser. I want to get away from all this, and he's using it in the worst possible way in the story that just makes you, it's like, I don't want to read this.
Gotcha.
Like, I don't, but the worst part is that I was reading the solicitations for, stuff in May, and the trade of this story is coming out. Issue 39 is the final chapter of this trade.
Right.
And the story just ends. Like, it ends like any other issue. It doesn't wrap anything up. It doesn't, conclude the storyline of this fan. It doesn't even feel like the end of, like, part 1, and now we're going to go to part 2 because there's some big shift happening. It's just like, like the Three Stooges. They just ran out of film, and it's time for it to be over. It's like, oh, this is the end of the trade. Well, okay, whatever. Like, there's nothing about it that feels like he's completed any part of an organically structured story. It's just feels like he's just, like, letting it flow out, and wherever it ends, it just kind of ends, and that's the end of the issue, and that's the end of the trade, and
that's the end of the series, isn't it?
No, I think there's they're going up till May. I think they've got one more trade until yeah.
Gotcha.
So there's one more trade worth of story to go through, but I mean, it's just I was just really disappointed as I sat down and read these over the past week. I just and it's another one where it feels like you are getting story, like you're getting there's a lot of dialogue and story and stuff that's going on, but a lot of the parts don't really mesh together well. And he does the same thing that he did on Deathstroke, where he's telling stuff out of order, except that it's not out of order because something is revealed in the past that would give away something that's happening in the present. So he withholds it, so you'll be surprised here, so you see the connection later. It just seems more like Aquaman's wearing a different suit. Like, why is he wearing this blue suit? Where'd it come from? And then in the next issue, oh, he's stranded in the desert in the past, and they bring him this blue suit to put on so he can be hydrated so he doesn't die. And that's where that blue suit comes from. But it's not like this shocking revelation, like withholding that at one point so that he can give it to you later. It's just, hey, I'm going to throw this stuff out of order so you get confused. Like why?
Understood.
So,
like, why?
Yes.
Why did he do the thing with the last issue? He showed Aquaman with a different suit, and then this issue we see how he got it.
Right, and it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah,
like there's no great reveal. It's not like everyone's going, "Oh, Aquaman, why are you wearing this different suit?" or something like that. It's there, and then in the next issue he explains where it came from, like almost like he forgot. Like I almost wondered, like, did I read these out of order? Like, what happened? Like, no, that's how it is. And there's also weird stuff like there's like these Senate hearings on the Justice League because some guy's dressing up as the Justice League and committing crimes and whatever. And so they think Batman has killed somebody. So they want people to testify. And Batman, of course, is not going to show up because he's Batman. But all these people are outside the courthouse claiming to be Batman. Oh, you mean those throngs of people out there? And they show a clip on TV of the people outside the courthouse, and it's Frank Miller's Batman, and it's Batman from the animated series, and it's Jim Aparo's Batman, and it's like if you're doing like a multiverse story or something like that, that kind of thing works. But to see one drawn in sketchy Frank Miller style right next to one in animated, almost like the Rick Burchett comic, style, standing right next to each other, as it's supposed to be just guys in different suits, but it's completely different artwork. Like it just, again, it's something that just stops you in the middle of the story and just kind of like kills the momentum right in the middle of this thing. So I'm just like, it's like I can't win. It's like I want a new writer. Get rid of this writer. I want a new writer. They bring in a new writer. Like, I don't like this either.
Goodness gracious. Wow, that blue suit that's a flashback, man. To that Aquaman series from
Yeah.
And this is Ian Churchill. He used to draw X books back in the 90s. He did a run on Cable. He did some X-Men work. It definitely looks like it too. There's that one splash page with the team. That's definitely 90s. I'm just flipping through it now because I'm just really curious to see what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, I actually like the art.
No, it's definitely put together. But in terms,
I'm not faulting the storytelling of the art, but just some of the stuff, and like the Jason Momoa Aquaman, like you pointed out earlier this week. If anybody follows Tim Dog on Twitter, you can see that they drew this version of Aquaman that looks like the one from the new Justice League movie, but like why? Like it doesn't serve any purpose. Like nobody thinks that that's what Aquaman looks like in the DC universe. So why do you have him dressed like that here? Because it's not like people in the DC universe are watching the Warner Brothers movies,
There's jokes in there. But anyway. Alrighty. Let's see. You want to cover? I guess I'll just go through some of Roddy's books, or you want to do Batman and the Signal #2, Tim? Because it looks like Roddy did that also.
Yeah, we get sort of teased for finding out Duke Thomas's true origin, about how he got his powers, and they allude to Batman being aware of him back in Zero Year. So there's that. What else did Roddy read? He says Duke's first day on the job doesn't go great. Brings more questions than answers. Rico and Izzy squabble. Those from the two from the We Are Robin series. And I'm guessing a family reunion is coming. Duke gets help and a clue from Detective Icy, and we kind of see how this ties to Metal. Trinity number 18. Warlord's enemy Deimos seems to have some new tricks, and the Trinity are trying to get to Warlord's daughter to help avenge her dad. And time is of the essence. Batman named his unicorn Biscuits. And that should do it.
Yeah, I think that does. I think we're getting to clicks of the week and books that it seems like I left out and Tim left out, and we covered all of Dirt's books. He may have something else up his sleeve, but I can tell you what my click of the week's going to be. It's going to be a book I haven't talked about yet, and that's Mighty Thor number 704, which was a heck of a book to read this week. Actually, I left out our sound effect for clicks of the week. Here we go. Oh, just in time. Our own Roddy Cat has reappeared. The gremlins in the internet in the Roddy Cat cave.
Yeah, apparently they didn't beat me yet. So clicks of the week, I'm guessing.
Yes,
by that.
Clicks of the week by the sound effect.
Yeah.
I just said that my click of the week is Mighty Thor number 704. Lots of great stuff in this. It's a pretty exciting issue. I'm not going to go into all the spoilerific stuff, but it's really a lot of fun. And I can tell you that I think that this is going to read spectacularly in collected format when Aaron is done with his run on Thor.
I'm going to go with... It's funny, like a lot of stuff came out, but like nothing really grabbed me, but I will of the many comments go with Infinity Countdown Prime #1 just because of all the sort of answers we got.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I'll go with Doctor Strange Damnation. I know you guys probably already talked about it, but yeah, that was a pretty good book this week.
I'm almost with you, Roddy, except that my pick is Doctor Strange Tarnation #1.
I forgot about that.
But yeah, it's a lot of goofy fun. I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Can't wait to read it, man. Can't wait to read it. Alrighty, so I guess we're transitioning into the next phase of our show. So I'm going to read our first ad of the night. Please help keep our podcast free by shopping at Amazon. Visit cspn.us, then click the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down and click on the Amazon link to shop. Purchase items from Amazon as you normally would, whether it's books, music, electronics, jewelry, apparel, etc., etc. For every purchase made on Amazon through our link, Amazon sends the CSPN a payment that helps us keep the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles podcast free for our listeners at no extra cost to you. Amazon.com through CSPN.us. Do it today. And now we head for the news.
Weekend box office. Black Panther bounds to record-shattering $235 million plus bow.
Yeah, they broke a few records this weekend.
Yeah. Good for them. And I'm going to try and see it again this weekend, I think, maybe.
I'm going to try to see it at least one more time while it's still in the theaters.
Black Panther's mid-credit scene was its original ending.
Ah, that's news.
Kind of makes sense, I guess, given what happened.
Black Panther fans want Marvel to release Claw's mixtape.
I like that part. That was pretty cool.
Yeah. Marvel's Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur animated series produced by Lawrence Fishburne and works at Disney Channels.
So this probably was about, there was talk about some deal he had with Disney, that he was talking with Disney, and this might be a part of that.
Yeah. Which is probably why Marvel has kept the series going for as long as it has. And it does well, like I said, at the bookstores out here.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America star teases Black
about that being about the Moon Girl books being popular at like the book clubs.
Yeah.
Where did we get that news from?
That's the Scholastic book orders and the book fairs at schools. Yeah, that's where you see Monsters Unleashed and Moon Girl and Squirrel Girl all over the place.
That's awesome.
Captain America star teases Black Widow movie.
Yeah, was this by accident? They're gonna have to take Chris Evans' phone away from him.
No, I don't think he was just talking about. They was asking him about how how Black Panther, and he was like, "Yeah, it's doing good, and the other ones will do good, and blah blah blah," and kind of, whatever.
Okay.
Titans cast Drop Dead Diva star as Elastigirl, and they also casted the robot guy today.
Robot Man?
Yes, that person.
I only know that from reading old school New Teen Titans. So
there she is. Netflix's Sabrina as Lords of the Rings star as Aunt Zelda.
Oh, they brought in Eowyn.
And there's been some other casting news, I think, this week, but I don't know anything about Sabrina. So,
but yeah.
And Doctor Who debuts new logo and teaser for season 11. Now,
they better not change the music. That's all I'm saying.
I don't know. They did. You know what? I looked. There was a teaser video somewhere in this article, and I didn't listen to it. I didn't look at it yet.
Like, I don't even watch Doctor Who, but I love that theme song.
Mm.
Let's see. Comics news. Marvel Comics announces a line-wide overhaul in 2018.
Yep, that's all we need. Another one. It's got a nice little video to go with it too.
I guess I'm in the minority of not being that offended by this.
I'm just like this.
I mean, I'm like, okay, this happens a lot. I mean, this happens often, even more now, but it happens often enough during the history of comics. So, I mean, you know.
Well, but it's also like Marvel over the last, I don't know if you want to say 5 years, 6 years, when they've done the all new, all different, and then Marvel Now, and then the all new, all different Marvel Now, and then Marvel Now in all capitals with an exclamation point, and then. Right. You know, it's like every year or every 18 months, they're like, we're redoing everything. And then it's like, well, you really didn't in a lot of these. And a lot of them, it just was an excuse for you to renumber everything. And then now they're like, oh, we're going to do a whole bunch of new number ones, but we're going to dual number everything. So you'll have the old numbers and the new numbers because they just did Legacy and brought back all the old numbers, but now they're undoing or redoing or underdoing or overdoing Legacy. And so they have to keep the old numbers, but they're going to still have new number ones.
Yeah, that won't be confusing.
It's just like, come on, guys. It's like, I understand that you want to, build brand awareness and you want to, generate some excitement for things, but I mean, just do them. Like, you don't have to trumpet everything. Like, why not just tell some good stories and sell a bunch of books and then in a year go, hey, we've done some great stuff over the past year. But instead they hype everything so far in advance that by the time it comes out, you're like, I'm already over it. It's like, if you're going to hype it, like I want it hyped for what's happening this Wednesday at the comic store. I don't want to know about what's happening 3 months down or 5 months down.
Yeah, but I hate to say this, but this is just another symptom of the previews catalog. Sick. Like that's just an issue that a problem that's with the comic book ordering. Like
well,
they want to hype it before the previews come out, so that when you flip the previews, like, oh, I'm going to order this, and this. Yeah,
but at the same time, though, it's like I go out of my way to not go to comic sites. Like I don't, I get PR emails, so I'm going to see a bunch of this stuff, but I don't, whenever they say like the solicitations coming, I only read the ones for May because I was reading like the Justice League and the Superman this week that were both bad, that made me go like, how long is this going to last? What's going on with this stuff? Just, to see where it's headed, to see if there's anything good down the road. But generally speaking, I don't pay attention to a lot of that stuff, especially because I'm not doing the previews orders anymore.
Right.
And I haven't done them for a while so that the owner could get used to doing them because he has to do them all himself. So it's like, I try not to overlook or, overdo the outlook, however you want to say it, of what's coming down the pipe, because they always like hype this stuff that's coming 3 months out and 6 months out and whatever. And it's like, I still haven't read the books that get there yet. It's like, DC is driving me crazy with all this stuff with Damage and the Terrifics and like everything else. They're in the back of every comic and they're like, Metal rocked your world and changed the entire DC universe. It hasn't. Like, it's not over yet. It's still going. Like, I don't know. It's like, these are the new heroes. What new heroes? I haven't seen any new heroes. They haven't come up in the story yet. Like, is this supposed to be somebody I already know, things I'm already familiar with? It's like, stop, slow down. It's like, we're not there. Let me enjoy what I have here and what's coming. Beat me all excited for that, because anymore I'm just kind of like shutting it down and shoving it out, and it's like I won't get excited for it ahead of time because
oh no,
I was about to say,
that's just me. I'm an angry old man.
I was about to say, it sounded like you were turning into RoboCop just now, Doug.
Oh, but I'm just saying, I'm turning into that grumpy, angry old man. So
yeah,
that's all I got.
Gotcha.
Let's see. Marvel changed. Oh, wait. Just give me that. Quicksilver speeds into solo series from Black Bolt Rider. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I just got nothing to add to that. Like, okay.
There we go. Yeah, so this is just a 5-issue miniseries that takes place, I think, during No Surrender.
Okay.
Relaunch Black Panther #1 to establish the Intergalactic Embassy of Wakanda. First seen in Marvel Legacy #1.
Yeah, at least they're following up on that.
Yeah, I need to. Maybe I'll finally get caught up on Coates' run in time to transition into this. John Byrne's X-Men gets the Artifact Edition treatment at IDW. The long unfinished Image Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic is finally getting its ending at IDW. Is that the one where like Donatello became like a cyborg or something?
I don't know.
Looking at that top feature image there. Good grief. And Kate and Raphael has Casey Jones's hockey mask. I'm assuming he's dead then, maybe.
Goodness gracious.
Boy.
Hey, click on Roddy's thumbnail at the bottom there, Tim, so we can see it.
I am. It's not showing? How about now?
I see it.
Okay. Let's see. Sims, Bowers, and Ferreira team for Transformers Bumblebee Win If You Dare.
So this is like a young ages book.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. It'll be 72 pages, recommended for 7 and up, and it'll be released in September.
Good, we're getting more of those.
And Bumblebee's got a movie coming out, so I'm pretty sure this is kind of along the lines of, in the line of that too. And good luck to at least one hometown boy. So yeah.
Additional Black Panther items unveiled by Hasbro.
Yep. More toys. More
goodies.
It's interesting that they're putting out. I was disappointed to hear that they're putting out a Marvel Legends 2-pack of Killmonger and what's his name? Everett Ross. I was hoping it was going to be Shuri.
Well, yeah, but they did one for sure.
No, but not a Legends, not movie Legends.
True. Yeah, maybe there's another one coming.
Yeah, I was hoping for a Shuri because we got Okoye, we got Nakia. So that would be like the last of the like kind of like the top 3 female characters in the movie. So it would have been nice to see them put out a figure of her, unless there's another Black Panther wave coming out. But I doubt that, because if we're putting out Killmonger, like the unmasked Killmonger in this 2-pack, I'm not sure what else they're gonna populate that wave with.
Populate the wave.
So
let's see. Iron Man's Hulkbuster suit is getting the giant Lego set it deserves.
Yikes. That thing is huge.
This is the toy portion of the show after last weekend's Toy Fair.
That's right.
And it'll only cost $9,000.
That all?
No, it's $120, I think. Yeah.
Yep.
But still more than I'd pay for a Lego set.
Yeah, no.
Guess that's not bad.
Yeah, it's all relative.
I mean, it's better than that, like, what, $1,000 Millennium Falcon or whatever it is.
Oh, yeah, I remember that story. Let's see. Toy Fair 2018. NECA scares up it, Alien, Predator, Del Toro, and more. Jeez, that's confusing.
Oh yeah, toys and stuff. There was another article I forgot to get, but there was like an Iron Man VR thing with a helmet that was also announced. But I'm pretty sure as time goes by, we'll be getting some stuff coming out of that in the weeks to come.
Cool.
Right. And related to just some of this toy stuff, I don't see an article for it, but Marvel Legends will continue to be taking money out of my wallet in the coming year.
3D print your Star Trek Online ship.
That is kind of cool. Like for the few of us that still plays Star Trek Online, you can 3D print your the ship that you make or use in the story. It's like you can kind of customize ships while you're in there just in a little bit. So you can colorize it and all that kind of good mess, and you can have it 3D printed coming next month. So that's pretty cool.
Next up, Dark Horse powers up Super Mario Encyclopedia.
Yeah.
You look at that cover and it's like, did Mario die in 2015?
Oh no!
Oh, that's funny.
Terrible. It does make sense though. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but it'll be on sale October 23rd, and it'll be $40. 256 pages.
And some staff announcements. Cushing, LaRoque, Tucker, Walker promoted within Dark Horse editorial. And Lionforge announces a transition with valued staffer Christina Steen Stewart moving from social media and community manager to associate editor. Good for them.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. The Justice League's new villain is a DC superfan, which we touched on earlier. Red Sonja meets Tarzan this May, thanks to Gail Simone and Walter Giovanni. Ashley A. Woods and Aria Baki bring Dismantlers to Black Mask. And Image held their Image Expo this week with a ton of announcements.
Yeah, indeed. Including, I guess I will say this, including like the Millar War stuff, Netflix stuff is going to be apparently all of them, but we know about the Magic Order. That's going to be published through Image, and they made it sound like all of them that come through that is going to be coming through Image also. And there's 5 new Spawn books. T. Franklin has another book. Christabella has a couple of books. There's people who got books that are coming out of Image.
Yes, that's definitely all that definitely worth mentioning, especially the Millar books, which Hit Girl #1 came out this week, which I forgot to talk about in reviews, but it's real fun. I've never read Hit Girl before, so it's kind of fun catching up with that crazy character.
I think the Bitterroot also. I can't remember if that one, but I remember them saying something about it by David Walker and Sanford Green might also be coming out of Image.
It is.
Yeah. So that was because they took the Twitter around that time to mention that also. So.
All right, and on that, I need to sign out for tonight. It is past my bedtime now, so
no problem.
I gotta go get my beauty sleep.
We only have an ad read and closing, so
anyway, guys, I'm gonna take off, but see you guys next week.
Take it easy.
Well, before we get to the ad, I do want to bring up something real quick. Oh, and let me get out of this real quick. So a book came out this week called Black Comics Returns. It's a big art book by Lions Forge. It's big, it's beautiful, and it's got some really nice art in it. So if you get a chance to go check that out, by all means do.
Cool. All
Close us out.
You got it. Our last ad read for the night is for Funko, Fun at First Sight. It's your home for exclusive collectibles, such as their world-famous pop vinyl bobbleheads, apparel, t-shirts, hats, and socks, and brand merchandise, such as custom DIY pop figures, art books, and skateboards. And now, for the listeners of the KLIQ Nation's Comic Book Chronicles, you can enjoy 10% off your entire purchase when shopping at Funko. To place your first order with 10% off and to help keep our show free for you, go to our network website at cspn.us. That's cspn.us. Then click on the Keep Our Podcast Free link at the top of the page. From there, scroll down to the Funko link and place your order. When you get to the checkout, put in the offer code SHOP10 for your 10% off discount. Funko through cspn.us. Do it today.
And then follow us on our individual Twitter accounts. I'm at TimDOGG98 and at CBCron. Oh, that's right. I do everyone else's. Agent 70 is at Agent_70 on Twitter and Instagram.
I don't have to say anything. I just hit the cash register.
Yeah, I forgot. Roddy Cat is at Roddy Cat on Twitter and at News Nerds Need. That's right.
There you go.
And follow him on Instagram at CBCaps to get some nice screenshots from comics each week.
I'm behind, but there are some coming.
And Doug is at PCN_Dirt on Twitter, and go to his website, popculturenetwork.com. And with that, we'll be back next week, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, Thursday nights, theclipnation.com/live. We are the Comic Book Chronicles, and we are signing off.
Peace.
Good evening, Rick. Would you believe it's Dr. Doom?
What's on your evil mind?
Hold your insulting tongue and mark my words well.
How about this rumor that you are really hired, Mr. Stark?